Imagine, if you will, a world ravaged by disease, a world plagued by economic hardship, and worst of all, a world where the only way to buy a PlayStation 5 is by paying double on eBay. Welcome, fellow public speakers. I'm David Leonardson, and unfortunately for all of us, this world we have all just imagined is actually reality. But why should any of you care about how hard it is to buy a PlayStation 5? Isn't that just for nerds? Wrong. This is affecting normal people too. Car production has been delayed. Smartphone production has been delayed. But just what is the cause of this? Semiconductors. I'm here today to shed light on the global semiconductor shortage that is affecting us all. But before getting into that, I will briefly describe what a semiconductor is. I'll touch upon the economic side of the semiconductor business before actually getting into the cause of the shortage and then the aftermath of the shortage. So buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Kansas is going bye-bye. Now, when I first started this project, I had no idea what a semiconductor was. But after reading countless materials and articles, I still don't really know what a semiconductor is, but I'm going to explain exactly what it is to you. A semiconductor is a crystalline solid with an electrical conductivity between that of a conductor and of an insulator. So that's a pretty confusing definition. So I think the easiest way to look at a semiconductor is to think of it as a magical crystal that lets us create PS5s and computers. An article from thoughtco.com written by Mary Bellis, an inventions expert, which was published on January 5th, 2020, describes the history of the semiconductor. Bellis writes that the semiconductor was necessary to the miniaturization of computers and computer parts. Let's start moving away from the technical side of things and get into the economics of the semiconductor business. In an article from Bloomberg, written by technology reporters Ian King, Debbie Wu, and Demetrios Pagkas, and published on March 28, 2021, we are shown data of this multi-billion-dollar industry. The article shows that a decade ago, in the year 2010, sales revenue of semiconductors reached $300 billion. More recently, as of last year, sales revenue has reached $430 billion. But how are sales so big? Well, the article continues to show the largest usage of semiconductors are in wireless communications, such as our smartphones, and computing devices, such as our laptops. But this does not answer the question on all of our minds. Just where is my PlayStation 5? The Bloomberg article states that over the course of this growing industry, the demand has always been on par with the supply. This all changed with COVID-19 and the ensuing lockdowns. An article from The Guardian, written by news reporter Mark Sweeney and published on March 21st, 2021, reads that initially the semiconductor shortage was a temporary delay as factories shut down in response to the pandemic. Even though production has since returned to normal, consumer habits have completely changed due to the new quarantine lifestyle that we are all very familiar with. I'm talking about working from home, and I'm talking about schooling from home, and entertaining ourselves from home. The supply has officially fallen behind the demand. One may ask, why can't we just produce more semiconductors? Referring back to the Bloomberg article, the issue here is that all production and manufacturing of semiconductors are outsourced to Asia, namely in Taiwan. We don't actually make our own semiconductor chips. There are plans to build factories here in the US, but that is a $20 billion endeavor and would still take years to construct. At this moment, the shortage may be here to stay for years to come. Let me rephrase that. I may not have a PlayStation 5 for years to come. Finally, let us move on to the effects of this shortage. I went out of my way to do my own research for this part. I put myself on the front lines of eBay and Amazon, and what I found is enough to make a grown man-child cry. The PlayStation 5, which retails for $500, is being resold for $800. The new RTX 3080 computer graphics card, which retails for $700, is being resold online for $3,000. How is it that these scalpers are getting their hands on such precious materials? Well, according to Will Bedingfield, writer for Wired.com, in an article published on February 2nd, 2021, scalpers are using retail bots, computer programs whose only purpose in life is to constantly scan websites for inventory on these low-stock goods and purchase them quicker than any human can navigate through the website. Other effects of this shortage would be the delay of the iPhone 12. Keep in mind that Apple is the largest purchaser of semiconductors in the world, and they still had to delay their flagship device. Also, car manufacturers have been idling their factories, cutting shifts from employees and delaying production of their vehicles. In conclusion, we very briefly touched upon what exactly a semiconductor is. We've skimmed the surface of the economic value of semiconductors. We've seen the devastation caused by the pandemic, and we've seen the aftermath of this shortage. Don't worry, fellow public speakers, I have not given up hope yet. I believe that if we all work together, and some of you visit Best Buy, and others of you visit Target, and I go to Walmart, we will be able to find a PlayStation 5 for me together. That's it. That's the end. Bye.